Tonight, legal ruling. A company linked to Michelle Mone must repay the government almost £122 million for breaching a PPE contract during COVID. Also tonight, as the new energy price cap comes into force, charities warn thousands more people are at risk of fuel poverty as bills continue to rise. CalMac's contract to run ferries on the west coast is extended from today. We hear from islanders who say the service must improve. While in sport, some of the biggest names in golf are mixing with celebrities at the Dunhill Cup in St Andrews. Good evening, I'm Norman MacLeod and this is the STV News at 6, live from Aberdeen. A company linked to Scottish businesswoman Baroness Michelle Mone must repay the government almost £122 million. It breached a contract to supply surgical gowns during the coronavirus pandemic. A High Court judge ruled PPE Medpro, a consortium led by Mone's husband Doug Barrowman, could not prove the gowns were sterilised and were fit for use. Ms Mone said the ruling was an injustice and an establishment cover-up. Here's our political reporter, Laura Aldman.
Businesswoman, entrepreneur and member of the House of Lords.
I, Michelle, Baroness Mone.
She made her fortune in the early noughties, pioneering her eye-catching lingerie range.
To marketing, to...
But in recent years, the bra tycoon has suffered a spectacular fall from grace. In the height of the pandemic, PPE Medpro, a company connected to Mone and led by her husband Doug Barrowman, was given contracts to supply gowns and masks to the NHS after she recommended them to ministers through the so-called VIP lane. The PPE was later found to be defective and the government announced it was suing PPE Medpro for breach of contract.
Hi Doug. Hello Mark, nice to see you again. And you, Michelle, nice to meet you.
Nice.
In a glossy 2023 documentary produced by their own company, Mone and her husband claimed they were being made scapegoats for wider failings in the PPE procurement process.
Are you going to win?
Yeah, we will win, because we've done nothing wrong. And it's cruel and it's nasty, but we will win.
But today, Mrs Justice Cockerell took a different view, ordering the company to pay back nearly £122 million. Doug Barrowman described the ruling as a whitewash of the facts, saying they had proof the gowns were sterile and fit for use. Miss Mone took to social media, saying the case was too big for the government to lose, adding it was an injustice and an establishment cover-up.
Sit down now.
Yes.
Those working on the front line during the pandemic say today's ruling only brings back traumatic memories of that time.
It was really difficult. Just suddenly overnight our usual supply lines were stopped. We even made visors ourselves. We felt very isolated, very cut off. And, you know, we were still ordering from Amazon, huge prices as well. The prices were horrendous. And that just makes me feel very sad that we were scurrying trying to get a box of gloves and others were making themselves very rich out of it.
Responding to today's ruling, the Chancellor posted online, "We want our money back. We are getting our money back. And it will go where it belongs, in our schools, NHS and communities." Now, the door could be opened for further criminal cases to be brought against the company, which has just 2 weeks to repay this monumental sum of money. Laura Alderman, STV News.
As the new energy price cap comes into force today, charities are warning thousands more people are at risk of fuel poverty as bills continue to rise. The value, which estimates the average cost of a yearly gas and electricity bill, increases by 2% today. But over the past 5 years, it's gone up by nearly 70%. Here's Hayley Boma.
76-year-old Jackie has seen her bills for her one-bedroom bungalow in Aberdeen double over the last decade.
I think my bills were like £35 a month for both. So now, OK, it's 9 years on, it's £71 a month. That's a lot, that's a big difference. And the fact that the electric is so much more expensive than the gas, I don't understand why.
And Jackie isn't alone. The energy price cap has risen in recent years, and whilst it doesn't give us the exact value that everyone pays, it does help to show us the overall trend in prices. In October 2020, the energy price cap sat at £1,042 for your average gas and electricity bill. But from today, that average energy bill is sitting at just over £1,700. To put that into context, that's nearly a 70% increase. Now, high gas prices caused by the war in Ukraine are partly to blame for this, but there's another reason behind this latest rise.
The main thing we see happening on the 1st of October is policy cost coming into our bills, and particularly the electricity bill, really around the warm home discount. But that money has to come from somewhere. It's not coming from general taxation, it's the other bill payers who're going to have to pay for it.
Charities are seeing the number of those needing their help soar and are now calling on the UK government to reform the way energy bills are calculated.
It has to happen now because all we see is increasing costs, not just in energy, just in generally the cost of living. Energy is our specialist area, but it's one part. So I think reform needs to happen sooner rather than later. We see, we talk about 6,000 inquiries at the moment. That is continuously increasing.
Westminster say they are overhauling the energy system to help more people and say they plan to uncouple the market from gas prices. But in the meantime, in the Western Isles, bills can be twice as high than the mainland average because many don't have the option of using mains gas to heat their homes. But this wind farm on Lewis is going some way to reduce the amount people are paying. It's selling power back into the national grid and receives around £1 million a year for doing so. That money is then given to those who need help paying their bills.
With 8 in 10 households being fuel poor, so in our area, I mean, that's incredibly, serious. So the more needy get greater help. And then we've coupled that along with signposting out to other agencies that run local schemes and national schemes for assistance, both in terms of money management, but also in terms of getting their houses insulated and heated in a more effective way.
There you go.
The energy price cap is likely to stay the same come January before rising again in spring. As the government looks to reform our energy system, charities say the redress is needed sooner rather than later. Hayley Bomma, STV News.
A new contract for Caledonian McBrain to run West Coast ferry routes comes into force today. The £3.9 billion agreement puts services under full public control. But islanders who rely on the routes say now is the time to improve them after major disruption and delays in recent years. Oliver Wright reports.
The ferry network is a lifeline for those living and working here on Harris. But over the last few years, constant disruption has angered those who rely on the service.
We've been asking for years to get a dedicated ferry rather than the triangular rubbish we are presented with at the moment.
I think it's more notice if they're going to be cancelled, and I do notice for the holidaymakers coming, and they're always worried they'll get stuck.
I do holiday homes, and quite often we've had cancellations because maybe they're wet, they can't get across, and then they just cancel.
And it's tourists that the economy here relies on. At this arts and crafts shop in Tarbert, a lot of their trade comes from visitors, and more capacity on the ferries is needed both for them and for locals.
We need a service that is reliable and that is, running regularly so that people who live on and work on the island are able to access, the mainland.
This new deal comes in today and brings the Clyde and Hebridean ferry network fully under Scottish Government control. The government says it will invest £4 billion over a 10-year period, but those in charge locally say they're still sceptical.
We certainly would want more island voices in terms of any of the decision-making that's been done. We would want to see a change in governance. We felt that in the last contract, for example, we weren't able to engage as well as we should have been.
Ferry bosses say they are listening to communities and are confident the new deal is the right way forward.
I think the scale of investment should speak for itself as we get these 6 new vessels in over the next year or so, and the small vessels that are coming after that as well. That will reduce the scale of disruption.
Services under the last contract were regarded by many on the islands to be flawed at best. It's hoped this new deal will pave the way for improvements over the next decade. Oliver Wright, STV News.
Police and women's aid groups say potential victims have been protected from harm as a result of the domestic abuse disclosure scheme. It's 10 years since the system was introduced in Scotland. In that time, almost 20,000 people have received information about their partner's history of abuse. NHS Fife has told staff to use toilet and changing areas in line with their biological sex at birth and not their gender identity. The Health Board updated its equality policy, saying separate facilities will be provided for men and women, as well as gender-neutral spaces. NHS Fife has been at the centre of an employment tribunal after nurse Sandy Peggy complained that transgender doctor Beth Upton was allowed to use a female changing room. MSPs have been warned Dundee University may face further job losses. Scottish Funding Council official Richard McConaughey told Holyrood the university may need to restructure despite already planning 300 job cuts to plug a £35 million deficit. A draft recovery plan suggested 400 more redundancies. Unions say staff cuts threaten Dundee's future. A man's been charged after a footballer was allegedly assaulted during a Dundee United match. On August the 10th, a lighter was thrown from the George Fox stand at Tannadice and struck a Hearts player. Police say a 23-year-old man has been arrested and charged. He's due to appear in court at a later date. Now, designing a less wasteful Dundee is the aim of a growing group of environmental projects. Changemakers is one of 5 climate action groups across Scotland to share £500,000 aimed at preventing reusable items going into landfill. Lynn Rankin has more.
It's a treasure trove of trash. From material to musical instruments, it's all been donated instead of dumped. And it's been given a new lease of life.
Learning to grow, to cook, to mend, to exchange, and that just really creates that community buy-in for everything that community is doing together, as well as caring about what's going to happen with the environment and the climate, and teaching young people that, and normalising for young people that caring about the climate is what we should be doing.
Scrap Antics is part of a collection of grassroots groups in Dundee known as Changemakers that tackle environmental issues. It's one of 5 climate action groups across the country to share £500,000 from Foundation Scotland.
Scrap Antics instigated the Play Forum, and it is through that Play Forum that the money will be spent to create opportunities for people to come together throughout the community to imagine a future. And the Play Forum has about 17 different other organisations and freelancers on it. So it really is a chance to support and amplify the voice of Dundee.
Vary has recently joined the team. She'll offer workshops to teach people the dying art of mending, passing on traditional skills of sewing, knitting and darning.
Maybe changing the buttons on a garment to make it look different, or sewing up a hem, or darning their socks. So you can have a hole in your sock. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the rest of the sock. If you repair that sock, you're extending the life by, it could be years. And if you can think, if everybody was able to darn their socks, how much would be saved from landfill just by that one action alone is really quite empowering.
So far, this scrap store has prevented 200 tonnes from going to landfill, demonstrating that one person's trash is another's treasure. Lynn Rankin, STV News.
A new season of Stargazing launches in Dundee tonight. Mills Observatory is opening for the winter and celebrating its 90th anniversary after being saved from closure due to council budget cuts. Visitor numbers have soared.
People go around with 2 feet bolt to the ground. What's up there affects your whole future, you know, and there's a whole big universe out there. And one of the great things about the Mills Observatory, when you come up here, you get to see the planets like Saturn, you know, and Neptune and all that with your own eyes, because people spend all day staring at screens, like phones, computers, TVs and all the rest of it. And what I love about the Mills Observatory is the fact that you can look through a telescope and see it with your own eye.
Well, let's move on to the sport now with Chris, and a big international match for Aberdeen tomorrow night.
It's finally here, Norman. They are in the league phase of the Conference League. 6 matches, starts tomorrow night against an enormous team. Ukraine's biggest team just about, Shakhtar Donetsk. They've had quite an epic journey to get here. 5-hour coach journey into Poland, and then they've flown over this afternoon. We're speaking to them right now, so we'll have their reaction tomorrow. But exciting times for Aberdeen.
Yes, fingers crossed.
Your window to sport. C.R. Smith sponsors STV Sport.
And we'll start there with Aberdeen manager Jimmy Tilleen. He says the squad believe they can get a surprise result against Conference League opponents Shakhtar Donetsk at Observatory tomorrow night. Well, the kick-off of the Don's European adventure has been somewhat overshadowed by their desperate domestic form, but a positive result tomorrow night could provide the electric shock their season needs.
Life and football sometimes is challenging, and you have to find the solutions, and you have to be strong in this moment, and sometimes the togetherness gets even stronger. And I see the players now, they try every training, every game, they go out again. We know the situation even before Motherwell, but the good thing with Motherwell again, no player hide. They try to take responsibility, they help each other, and they push for a win. Of course, we know the end of that game, but over the performance-wise, it was a step in the right direction. And now we have some more training since then. Of course, it's a different kind of opponent tomorrow, but I also see our team is growing and our players growing. So hopefully we can keep working on this now and believe in our own performance and also fight for good results.
Well, the wet weather, as you can see, did little to dampen spirits at the Don's training this morning. Only first-team player missing from the warm-up session was Christers Tobers, but Tilleen says the Latvian captain is working to his own schedule as he returns from injury.
Let's see tomorrow. Everybody's done their own thing because we had so many games the last week, so everybody's doing small adjustments and individual preparation for the game. Some small issues from the last game, but hopefully everybody's fine tomorrow.
Well, Shakhtar are indeed a massive club, usually plying their trade in the Champions League. Don skipper Graham Shinney, though, says this is a game the players are looking forward to without the pressure and expectation of the Premiership.
We need to keep building on it, and the pressure is always there at a club like Aberdeen, and the pressure is always on individuals as well. I would always put pressure on my own self to perform at my highest level, to give my all for the team. So football always has these pressures, and like I said, it's a game that we're looking forward to, and a game that we want to put in the best performance we can and make it another memorable night at Observatory.
Now to golf. And stars of stage, screen and sport have descended on the home of golf for the Dunhill Links Championship today. Celebrities alongside some of this week's Ryder Cup heroes have been getting in some final day's practice ahead of the event, which tees off tomorrow at the Old Course, Carnoustie and Kingsbarns. Stephanie Daly has spent the day chatting to some of them.
Well, if you like your golf with a sprinkling of stardust, then this is the place for you. The Dunhill Links Championship is where Hollywood meets the home of golf. And among the host of celebrities taking part this week, there's a number of sporting stars who are ready to make a name for themselves in golf. Andy, you're here at the home of golf, playing golf. How delighted are you to be taking part in the tournament?
Yeah, it's brilliant. I mean, I've not played any of the 3 courses, for, like the full 18 before, so yeah, it's a pretty special place to come and play and be around, you know, all the pros and stuff. It's a cool event.
I've seen that you've been playing a lot of golf. How is your golf coming on?
Yeah, it's up and down. I enjoy playing. I like practicing. It's hard. You know, it's a difficult game. But yeah, I'm hoping one day it'll click. But yeah, I'm getting a little bit better. That's one of the things I'm loving about the sport, is that it's encouraging me to come up to Scotland more and, you know, go to places I've not really spent much time at. So yeah, very, very good to be here.
And finally, you're a competitive guy. You're going to be competing this week?
Well, I'll try and do my best. I'm not holding up many sort of hopes for, you know, winning the event, but I'll try my best.
You're going out with Andy Murray,
yeah.
Competitive guy. You'll be the same. I mean, how is this going to work?
We play together a lot. And I think we're just both unemployed ex-athletes trying to get better at another job.
Well as some sporting greats, there's a star-studded lineup from the world of stage, screen and music.
I saw a little
clip of the Ryder Cup guys talking about when they get the call for the Ryder Cup. And that is, for an amateur, that's how I would equate it. You're my playing partners for today.
Hi,
Yeah.
Did you ask for a barbershop quartet?
Yeah,
because
we're not
trio?
This is the boys' own reunion.
Yeah.
How's you guys golf getting on? Because you've been here that often, it must be good by now.
It's very, very good.
Yeah,
It's very good.
amazing.
Please don't film
We've
any
got
of the golf.
we've got good vibes.
Tom's is very good. Tom's been playing quite a bit of golf over the summer.
Yeah, cheating.
Yeah. My name's not Tom. Dave's on my golf not so good.
Great, well have a great week, you
Thanks
guys.
a million.
And of course, it's not just celebrities that are here this week. Some of the world's top golfers have descended here, and some of them, well, what a week it's been for them. They're fresh from winning the Ryder Cup with Team Europe.
Whether it's a Ryder Cup year and I've been playing or not, I always love coming back, and I still dream of actually winning a tournament at the Old Course, and being on that 18th green had just not happened yet.
And it's not just here at the Old Course that the action takes place. The event will tee off at Kingsbarns and Carnoustie as well, when the championship swings into action at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Stephanie Daly, STV Sport, at the home of golf.
And I can't confirm or deny that Andy Murray asked Stephanie for a selfie. See you back here tomorrow.
Your window to sport. C.R. Smith sponsors STV Sport.
Well, let's move on to the weather now. And Sean, it's going to get stormy at the end of the week, but many questions remain over the track of the actual storm.
That's right, although the certainty is a wee bit more certain. You might not think it looking at this here. This is the possible tracks of that low pressure system, looking at various computer models. Now, one of the tracks takes it way to the south, which means we wouldn't need to worry about it at all. The strongest winds would end up away across England, Wales. Very, very unlikely. One of the tracks takes it way to the north, which would give us the strongest winds across the Highlands, the Northern Isles, the Hebrides. The most likely outcome, though, is for the centre to track across the North Highlands, putting most of us at risk of damaging gusts of wind during Friday night and into Saturday. So some very stormy conditions on the way later on the week, but there's more details online and on social media. I did a wee video explaining it earlier on, so you can have a look there. But let's have a look at our rather wet forecast.
An icy start to the day will give way to a series of oohs and ahs. TUI sponsors STV Weather.
So a lot going on the next couple of days. The worst of the rainfall will be across western parts of the country. Over there, they might get about 100 millimetres of rain. The rain tended to be a bit more showery for us. But we'll get to Amy in a wee second, because she could bring us some very gusty winds here on Friday night into Saturday morning. Overnight tonight, temperatures are going to stay on that milder side again. We're about 14. Look at that, 15 in Dundee. That's 59 in Fahrenheit. We hang on to a lot of cloud and showery outbreaks of rain. Now, tomorrow morning, largely dry start to the day, albeit rather cloudy. There will be some showery outbreaks of rain around, and we'll see more rain, I expect, during the afternoon. You can see some quite bright colours coming in here. Fife around Dundee, Angus, possibility of some heavier bursts of rain in the afternoon. So looking quite wet during the afternoon for most of us. Your highs not too far off where they're going to be through tonight. We're only just getting a degree or two up. About 16 degrees Celsius. Now on Friday, dry and bright hopefully for us to start the day. We'll see this rain coming in from the west, but of course the main story, the only story in town really on Friday, is Amy. She's going to bring us strong and gusty winds, especially around the northwest. That's the darker shade, but you can see we've got a little pink shade that starts to appear across Fife, Dundee. And that's where the risk of maybe gusts 60 to 70 miles per hour. Expect along the Tay we could get some pretty decent gusts, given we've got that westerly funneling its way up through the Tay on Friday into Saturday. Saturday leaves us behind with a blustery day with a few showers.
TUI sponsors STV Weather.
And that's all from this shorter than usual programme. Join me again at 25 to 11. There are further updates online. Have a good evening.